Hello and welcome back to Storm Swords. This is game 2 of the best of 2, group 1, round 4 between Snakepit and Tonka. God, it took me a while to remember. We're actually going to have the synchronized spider mounts coming out of Snakepit here. Meanwhile, they are the team on the left. Peter Rabbit, the team captain on that. Jaina Karazim playing playing Karazim. Levo on that Sylvanas. Going to have Johanna played by Krablisk, and finally Vala played by Soul Whisper. In the meantime, on the side of Tonka Truck Crew, we're going to have Poshmop playing that Falstad, VVVVV on the Diablo, Mordor Saro on Rhaegar, Kirito, the team captain on that Space Lord Leoric, and finally Spiro on that Zagara down in the bottom lane. This is Infernal Shrines. No Rhaegar Li Ming like we saw last game. So Tonka Truck could potentially go with something they're a bit more comfortable with. You know, the not quite so recently added / changed here. Still got the Rhaegar though. Rhaegar's still really strong, and we're gonna have, as we just saw there, Snakepit come in and just take a tower immediately. Look, they've already got a small experience advantage using that Sylvanas Black Arrow to its full effect, just straight away. And this is really, really good. From them here, just taking those small advantages as and when they can, and they're not going to lose out on experience. They're going to soak all the lanes quickly as they can, and they're in fact just going to they're going to maintain the small experience lead. Now one tower, that's all it is. Going for a 2-2-1 setup here, which is not normally what you'll see teams going with. Both teams going with this 2-2-1. Normally you'll have two teams with one man in each, and then one lane with three. Now the reason for that is you only need to soak the lanes. And if you're going with two men, you don't have as much of an advantage as you could. So you might as well have teammates who are going to soak for you. Then have three members in one of the lanes, probably on a map like this, the middle lane. As a result of, if one of your teammates die, you can move up or top or bottom quicker to soak that. But yeah, you might as well put all your advantage, force as much of an advantage in one of the lanes as possible. So put three men in a lane, they're going to push back against one person really easily, and if the enemy respond 3v3, you can split off, soak and try and get a gank on one of the other lanes. There's a lot of good plays you can do with a 1-1-3 setup, which is why it tends to be favoured. But both teams, as I said, going with that 2-2-1 this time. And the first shrine's going to spawn on Infernal Shrines. Diablo's actually going to dive a bit deep and get picked up here. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher. Pretty good for the first one. It doesn't have a lot of health, but it's going to push relatively okay, since the Mortar does do a lot of damage to buildings. And most of these Guardians, in fact, going to have Leoric and the Falstad end up falling here as well. Most of these going the way of Snakepit, as they've just taken up this really aggressive stance. They've got a Johanna, they've got a Vala going for multi-shot, and they've got a Jaina. They've just got so much cover damage. The Sylvanas just adds a little bit. But yeah, and as long as the Karazim's here, right-clicking these, he's a really, really good healer for this, because he has a lot of sustain, and the more he right-clicks, the more he's going to heal his team. Meanwhile, the Snakepit doing a lot of damage to the Diablo of Tonka Truck Crew. As this first Punisher falls, Poshmop has to back away. If the Punisher jumped on him at that point, he would have died. Really, really kind of awkward positioning there from the Zagara. I'm not going to say outright bad, but what you'll want to have to do is stay kind of behind your wall here and wait for that first Punisher jump to go behind your wall. That way you can defend it far more easily. Yeah, about like this, but your gate and your two towers will still be up. You'll be able to defend it far more easily, and yeah, a Punisher will fall without getting too much done. As it stands, took down the entire wall, the gates. It might end up getting this tower. It doesn't quite, but with the Sylvanas here, they're going to pick up the tower and this fort with the first Punisher. So Snakepit favouring that Sylvanas and showing why her Black Arrow is something to fear. That her trait is just so good. The disabling buildings, absolutely bonkers, especially for a map where the Punisher doesn't do that much siege damage. Leoric again falling. Nothing really much to say here. 4 kills in favour of Snakepit, who are a level and a half above. Going back to soaking all 3 lanes. They're going to hit level 7, get that next talent here. As Tonka Truck Crew only really in the middle lane. Falstad finally going up top, try and soak out this experience deficit. It's quite a big wave for him to have soaked, so this is nice. I'm not too sure as to why Zagara's joined him up here, so there's nobody soaking this bottom lane, and they're actually losing out on a good few creeps worth of damage. Diablo finally showing up. So, Tonka Truck Crew, 1-0 down in this best of 2. So they can draw this out, but they're in a bit of an awkward situation. The start of this game hasn't quite gone potentially the way they favoured. They've still got this Rhaegar though, and Rhaegar is really strong. He's not unbeatable, but he is really strong, and he brings a lot to your team, especially with a lineup such as Diablo and Leoric, two tank, well Diablo especially, two warriors who like to get up in the face of their opponents with the Shadow Charge, and then Leoric being able to use his Wraith Walk to get out means he can just position himself more aggressively normally. So Poshmark taking some damage here from the Vala. Gonna actually take a lot of damage here. Might end up falling now. The Leoric's gonna come in and just cover this. Cover their retreat. And again, Johanna going the Condemn. Regen Master at level 1, but then the rest of it's going with the Condemn build. I like it, I like it. All about sustain in these fights. Now we're going to have the next shrine spawn up top, and it's going to be the Arcane Punisher, which for a 6-minute Punisher will probably end up being about 7 minutes by the time the Guardians have been killed. Bit of a, like, it's okay. Arcane is still so strong, but it's strong for hero damage. It has the AoE in the area it covers is so large, it just kind of zones you out a lot. Its damage was obviously lowered recently, but still, those arcane beams, they do a lot. VVVVV on that. Diablo's actually going to get caught out here, and he's going to get killed. The Condemn plus the slows doing way too much. Falstad, pretty much the same story. Leoric's not going to be able to get the short Wraith Walk off to keep himself alive. That is 3 in favour of Snakepit, who are now 7-0 up in the kills, and yeah, they're going to probably end up getting this Arcane Punisher. So they've gotten 1 fort, they've got the Sylvanas still for that Black Arrow advantage. And they're probably going to end up using it, as half the Guardians required have been killed. They hit level 10. I was going to say, the rest of Tonka Truck Crew, they're going to these lanes to soak them, try and get level 10, try and not be that heroic, all-important heroic ability down for, you know, for very long. They want to minimise the time that they are down those heroics. No possession out of Sylvanas, unfortunately. Would have been funny to see that. Johanna's still deciding whether or not she wants Falling Sword or Blessed Shield. I mean, Blessed Shield is by far the more popular, but it would be kind of cool to see a Falling Sword game. We do actually have 7-sided strike out of the Carousel. Old Johanna's left, and she rejoined and then picks up her heroic abilities. That'll be why. Meanwhile, Spiro on that Zagara going to get picked off here. Trying to soak, just soaking a little bit too far out, gets killed. Punisher was in fact just left in this top lane, and it gets the entire wall. But past that, Arcane Beam's doing a lot of damage. It's not going to get much more. And that's going to be okay. They're going to get the tower here with the creep wave as well, so Punisher leaving it alone actually did a good chunk of damage. Meanwhile, the Sylvanas advantage, only 1 tower in this bottom lane to take. Johanna, oh, not quite getting overpowered over the wall. Diablo just missing out there on that really, really clutch play. That would have been, pretty sure Johanna could just walk down here or left. But, you know, would have been really, really good to see. Lock her out, cause her to panic potentially. 3v5 down at the bottom. False and Zagara need to be here. Rhaegar's going to back off. The Leoric trying to Wraith Walk himself away. He's being slowed. We're going to have the heroics finally pop out here for Tonka Truck Crew as that lightning breath does a little bit of zoning, but not really enough damage to scare away Snakepit's push here. Oh, we're going to have a really, really good Blizzard landing both waves on the Diablo and the Rhaegar. Rhaegar gets picked up first, then the Diablo falls. Mighty Gust, no mana now on that false stats. The Devouring Maw lands on 2 actually, not doing bad at all there. Spiro finally coming into this fight, but he's just a bit too far forward. He's going to get caught out here. Falstad's been silenced the Sylvanas using a Haunting Wave to catch up. Going to pick up the Falstad as well. Leoric falls, that is a full 5-man wipe, just as that Rhaegar respawned. And it's going to be yet another fort in favour of Snakepit. Tonka Truck Crew, 3 levels down, well, 2.5 levels down at this point. They are that talent point down. They are now 14-0, not picked up a single kill this game, and looking in dire straits for them. So, low man on the team of Snakepit, just going to take the siege camp and back off. Dex on the Karazhan here, doing a good job. He's just like watching out and going to cover the retreat of his team as well as slow the enemies down as they try and attack. Wasn't able to do so. Sorry about that, had a little bit of a cough. And as this third shrine spawns, it's going to obviously be the Frozen Punisher. You're going to have a quick drink here. Oh, my throat. As we have the team group up here. Rain of Vengeance out from the Vala here, so no strafe. Not quite seen a good one yet, but she gets a, speaking of which, she gets a vaulting, gets a Rain of Vengeance. The second wave actually landing on 3, and the false side of Rhaegar die immediately. Zagara's falling really, really low. The Johanna not quite chasing after her. Sylvanas was going to do so, but got slowed by the Leoric Skeletal Swing. And that is a 4-man wipe. Again, for nothing in favour of Snakepit, who are just going to get this Frozen Punisher, and pushing middle with it. Might even end up getting a keep. They could leave it and take out the fort top, but I don't see why they don't push, try and get damage done to the keep, and then back off and get this fort up top, which is very exposed to the Sylvanas camp. Zagara devouring more though in the meantime. Land on 2, save out the Leoric, who's gone back in to get a right click off on the water spirit, water elemental. He's going to end up falling. Diablo getting Ancestral healed, almost back up to full health. He's still having to back off. Going to be able to be saved by his Rhaegar friend, but Spiro on that Zagara falling low. Might see a multi-shot come out, pick him up, but no, he's going to get healed. Punisher jumps over. Zagara backing away. And the Sylvanas Black Arrow just doing enough. Oh, we're going to have the Haunting Wave. Almost kind of psyched out. And oh, that Mighty Gust. Actually, it was a really good Mighty Gust. The Diablo, bit of miscommunication there. Ended up using the Lightning Breath. And oh, wow, that was a really, really good condemn there by the Johanna. Landing on the Leoric and on the Falstad. Plus the Blessed Shield coming out. Means that Leoric will get cleaned up. Falstad almost fell. Punisher jumping through. They are going to end up getting the keep, and Snakepit, they just might move on for core. Rhaegar fell. He was on about a quarter health, and then suddenly he wasn't. Just so much damage. Consistent damage coming out here for Snakepit. That Karazhan's just constantly right-clicking. Dex doing what he needs to, and yeah, the core's falling, 60%. Tonka truck crew, they may be able to hold the defense here. 50% on the core. VVVVV on that Diablo falling, but he's going to be back up in 3 seconds. Core's now down to 30%. No members of Snakepit are dead, and that's going to be GG. A really quick 12.5 minute game number 2 here as they take the series 2-0. Securing those all-important 3 points, and commiserations to Tonka truck crew. They drop out, 4 levels behind. Not a single kill that game. And yeah, falling to the power of the Sylvanas both games. Snakepit really showing why they like that hero. So, well played by them. And yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time.